just going to give y'all some fun facts. This is not something you're going to want to write down, but when Kenzie gets here, you have a pad and you have a pencil and you get ready for the real deal, because these are just some fun facts. And the first fun fact about this this system is that it's 30 foot long. The GI system from the mouth to the anus is on average 30 feet. 30 feet. That's a lot of bowel. That's a lot of system. Most people hadn't thought about it, but get a visual of 30 feet and just know that that's all packed inside of your sweet little body. Okay, and we're starting right here and going all the way down. Kenzie's going to show you everything that makes up that system, and so you'll make sure that you understand the whole system. There's a couple of things in that system that might surprise you. You might not know that they're in that system, but they are. Another very interesting fact is saliva. Okay, we might have talked about, no, we didn't. But that's a part, because the system is in the mouth, it's a part of the GI system. And you know what that is? That's spit. Saliva that comes from the saliva glands inside your mouth produce 2 pints of saliva a day. Get out of here. That is like 2 Coke cans. 2 Coke cans of saliva is made through your system. Okay, where does it go? Where does it go? Hopefully it goes down your esophagus and into your stomach. You know, you ever gotten strangled? You know, you can get strangled on saliva. You can also, you've heard this saying, I know you have, drowned in your own spit. Now you know why. If you're making 2 pints of it, you know, in 24 hours, you can accumulate some things. That is another reason that people have to be suctioned when they're unconscious. They don't swallow that 2 pints, and so they have to be suctioned. I think that's pretty interesting. Another important thing about saliva is this. It goes down into the stomach, and it has a big purpose there, because another interesting thing about the system is the acidity in the stomach. You know, we talk about the cell, and I've taught y'all, I know you know this, about the normal pH and how you want to keep your pH just exactly right, so your blood's right, so that disease can't enter our bodies. The acidic level in the stomach is equivalent to battery acid. That's how acidic it is. Let me see. Unbelievable. It has the same acidic value and number as battery acid. So I know how your beautiful little minds are working right now. You're thinking, holy crap, how come it don't eat up my stomach? Okay. That's the important thing that the saliva does. When you swallow it, it goes to your stomach, it protects the lining, and that acid that's in there doesn't eat the mucosa of your stomach. Ta-da, ta-da, interesting, very interesting. It has been viewed radiographically. Great fact here, just fun fact here. The acid within your stomach can eat away a razor blade. A razor blade. One of the reasons that people don't die from some things that they ingest is because the acid in the stomach may eat it up before it presents a problem. Just cool stuff. Don't swallow a razor blade to check this out. I want you people to just love and trust me, okay? It happens. It's been radiographically viewed. A razor blade being eaten by the acidity of the stomach. Let's talk about the stomach. Stomach holds about 4.5 pounds of food and stuff. and drink and whatever else you choose to put in that stomach. But it's about 4.5 pounds. Now, my question is this: how do people eat 10 pounds of something? You know, if your stomach holds 4.5 pounds, how do some of you guys, you got some guys on here, how y'all eat all those crawfish and eat all that steak? And I mean, I know for a fact that Carrie Hill has eaten more than 4.5 pounds. I know that. Well, there is some stretch. There is some stretch with your stomach. But you know that big stuff that you see sticking out on people and everybody calls it their stomach? It's not their stomach. You know, those are bowels. Those are bowels that are covered with layers of fat. When you say, "Oh my Lord, what a big fat stomach," that's incorrect. Just so that you have good GI etiquette, okay? A couple of other things. All right, GI facts. Oh, this is a good one. Little unpleasant here, but let's talk a minute about gas that forms in the stomach. Okay, this is very, very important. Oh, really, Jody? Gas is formed from digestion of food or poor digestion of food. Okay, gas will form molecules of hydrogen and nitrogen, along with byproduct gases from certain foods. And the other way that gas gets in there is from singing, air hunger, anxious people who are anxious. You don't realize this, but when you're anxious, you're breathing in more air. And oh, we're at capacity, people. So you can breathe it in, okay? It can come from food, cheering. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, you know. Speaking of that, this is my shirt tonight, and you can't see my shirt tonight, but I didn't get time to change. It says, "I'm a softball grandma," which is like a regular grandma, except much better. That's what my t-shirt says. See? I was going to put on something fancy, and I decided not to. So, air hunger, gasping, anxious, and food, byproducts of the food, are what form gas. Now, this is a great fact right here. Gas has two ways to leave, right? One is here, burp. The other way that gas leaves your gastrointestinal tract, and I'm taking so much off of Kenzie because she don't have to say this part, and I'm going to say it, is how? Through your rectum. Around our house, we call that tootin', and we have some little cute names for it. But that's the other way that gas leaves the GI system. Here's a little funny. One of my grandchildren, and I don't know which one it was, you know, we've got a passel, but it was years ago, just happened to be a little gassy kid. It was a girl, it wasn't a boy, because we hadn't had that many boys. And I would always say, what do you say? Every time they do that, what do you say? "Excuse me, I'm sorry." And I'm like, okay. Well, after doing that 2 or 3 times during the day, he said to me, "Grandma, why come I have to say that every time I do it?" I said, "Because it's just good manners, and that's not something that we want to do. It's just something that you need to say, 'Excuse me,' or 'I'm sorry' about." And he looked at me so serious, she did, and said, "If it's bad, how come my bottom does it?" Try answering that one. You know, try answering that question. I just said, let's move on to something that's toot talk, okay? But the fact is this, 14 to 23 times a day, your body expels gas. So if you are of the upper echelon, uppity two shoes people that say, well, I wouldn't dare do that. Yeah, you do. It's been scientifically proven. I mean, it's not earth shattering as you're not shaking the walls, but 14 to 23 times a day, your body passes some gas. Maybe you're just a big belcher. That's what I am. I'm just a big belcher. Interesting fact. Okay, and the last fact we're going to talk about is Kenzie on here.
I'm here.
Okay, where are you? Okay, good. This is the last fact. Hey, have you been listening to the facts? So you don't have to do any of this bad stuff. I'm doing it all for you, okay?
I think I probably missed the facts.
You might, oh, the facts were great. The facts were great. We're talking about pooting and tooting and all kind of stuff. And the last fact we're going to talk about tonight is, and I'm going to, this is what Alicia has the picture for, but I'm going to talk about this and then we're going to let Kenzie go for it. She needs to take a break and get a glass of water. And but the other interesting facts that I'm going to talk about just briefly with you is poop. Okay, poop. Byproducts of the GI tract is poop. Okay, stink. We call it stinky with some poop, bowel movement, whatever you want to call it. But color is very important. And as an educator, Kenzie might tell you more about this, but I don't know if she gets any poop color or not, but she covers a lot of things. But the color of your poop is quite significant. Brown poop's good. Okay, we're not going to talk about consistency things because I want to let Kenzie get on here. But brown poop's good. Yellow poop is a little. Green poop is usually related to what you eat. You see these colors? Red poop throws people in a total panic, but red poop is generally dietary. Now you people know if poop is bright red and it has blood on it, that's blood. But red poop that's solid is dietary. It can be streaked with some blood, and that's a little concerning. Yellow poop, little bit more concerning, indicative sometimes of parasites and probably not getting enough bile down into your intestines, and it might warrant investigating a little bit. Who has ever seen a blue poop? Red poop comes from red jello too, I'm going to tell you that. And I tell you what else is really scary is blue poop. Blue poop comes from blue icing on cake. And, you know, I can remember the first time that my daughter-in-law saw blue poop. She called me in a panic. Oh, my God, so-and-so's poop is blue. And I'm like, yeah, that's that icing from the cake. So don't get all bent out of shape. But what's the other color? Sometimes drugs change the color of your stool. One of the most concerning stools, of course, is a black stool, which indicates old blood, and it should be evaluated. Black poop should be evaluated. There it is. See, maybe caused by bleeding in the upper digestive system because it doesn't come out red. Okay, blood comes out black because it's had to go through all the system. So another concerning poop is white poop. So white poop, black poop, little concerning. Everything else, as long as it's not consistent and persistent, I don't think you have to see a poop doctor, but just something to think about. Just interesting facts, right, Kenzie? Right, Kenzie? All right, we're fixing to get down to the real deal. All my poop facts, all my GI facts are over and done, and the fun is over, and the real education is fixing to start with one of my great friends and a dynamic leader with Young Living up in Tennessee, a gold leader. She has a full-time job, 3 children, and a precious husband, and runs a gold organization as good as anybody in the business. So without any more, I'm just going to tell you, you're in for a treat. Get your pencil and you get your paper. I love you, Kenzie, and I so appreciate you being with us tonight and helping us out, okay?
You're so welcome. Okay, so she said, get your pencil. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, she said, get your pencil and don't zoom in on my face or you're going to see like mask marks because I've lived in isolation today. But I'm going to do a screen share and we're going to go really fast. So get your pencil. If you see something that you want to take a screenshot of it, something. I think this PowerPoint's already somewhere, but if it's not, we'll put it somewhere in Oils Away, or put pictures of the graphics up, because the whole digestive system is humongous. It's more than people, even think about. Let me see if I can go get my, let's see, I'm still at work. Okay. How do I get here? Okay, can y'all see that? Yep, okay. All right, so gut health. That's what we're talking about. Everything begins in the gut. So even how Janie taught last week, for those of y'all that were here, the immune system is humongous, but the gut is even bigger. Because if your gut health is not in check, then your immune system is not going to work. And I can see that so much today in all the testing that I have done of the junk that y'all keep seeing on TV. These people better get their gut in check. And, do they want to listen to me talk about their gut when they're here because of something totally different? Absolutely not. But this is where you, as a person, for yourself and your family, need to think, yeah, we're doing all these things to prevent this virus going around, but you better get your gut in check or it's not going to help you. Okay, get off my soapbox. So all disease pretty much begins in the gut. Many chronic disease processes are gut related, things that you are not even going to be thinking about that we're going to discuss. And Janie knows I am a Nazi about compliance. Like, I'm a little over the top about compliance. So like the whole first of this, we're not going to be talking about oils. We're not going to be talking about supplements. That's all going to come to the end, because we have to lay the groundwork of what is going on in your gut that's really causing these problems. Like, I have hypothyroidism, and that can be caused by my gut. Or I have a rash. Why are you talking to me about what I'm eating when I have a rash? Because a rash is a symptom, and it's coming from your gut. So treating all these symptoms, reflux, all kinds of stuff, you've got to get back to the gut. So many chronic diseases come from your gut, and a lot of it is caused by inflammation. So did you know that 70% or more of your immune system is actually from your gut? That's why it's so important that we really focus on things that we're putting in and on us to keep our gut healthy and intact. So you see these little microvilli. This is kind of what lines our small intestine. Now I want you to take your tongue and rub it around the inside of your mouth, and you feel how smooth that is? Well, that's like your large intestine. Your large intestine, so your food is going to go in your mouth, down your esophagus, to your stomach, through your small intestine, then to your large intestine, and then it's going to go out. So it is one tube from your mouth to your rump is one single tube. So through that small intestine, where you're going to be absorbing a lot of things, that's where you're going to see like this picture, that the microvilli, and then your colon or your large intestine is super smooth. So this is just showing us it is one continuous tube that goes all the way down, and it interacts with all kinds of things. Your liver, your gallbladder, your pancreas. If you have diabetes, your gut's probably not in check. There are other disease processes that could mess up your pancreas, but your gallbladder, your appendix, your liver, all this is interconnected to your bowel and to your gut health. So it's approximately, I don't know, this could have been one of Janie's facts, it's approximately 30 feet in length the whole way through. So what does our gut do? Well, it does a ton of things. Our immune, psychological. Are you anxious? Are you depressed? Your gut is directly related to your brain. It's like your second brain. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. It helps produce some vitamins like vitamin K. If your gut flora or bacteria is out of whack, then that is called dysbiosis. So for me, I think if my gut is out of whack and I have dysbiosis, one of the things that is directly related to dysbiosis is weight gain. So if I need some encouragement to work on my gut because it might make me smaller, I'd be darned if I'm not going to work on my gut. Just getting the bacteria in balance. There are up to 1,000 different bacteria species in your gut. It's a lot of times talked about as the forgotten organ. There's about 3 pounds of bacteria in your gut. It contains millions and trillions of cells. There are more bacteria cells than human cells. So we as an individual are made up more of bacteria. We're more bacteria than human walking around. And everybody is different. A third of our gut bacteria, and all this is going to tie together in a minute. A third of our gut bacteria is common to everybody. Yet 2/3 is specific just to me. 2/3 of my gut bacteria is just my bacteria. It's like my fingerprint. It's another way that it's just me, which is kind of odd, right? Because that's kind of gross, talking about all this bacteria. I mean, frankly, it is. So this is about the two brains. So when we are an embryo, when you were just conceived and you're an embryo, you are formed with that same tissue, and it goes to your brain, to your gut. That's connected by the vagus nerve, and that's your 10th cranial nerve. So think about times when you're scared or something frightens you and you get butterflies in your stomach. Your gut and your brain are directly related, and they're connected by that vagus nerve. Or if you are nervous and you're going to have to get up and speak in front of somebody, or you're going to have to confront somebody, and oh my gosh, I have to go poop first. Like, I'm so nervous, I've got to go poop first. Okay? Because that is all connected. So another thing that your vagus nerve, and this nerve is super important in relation to your gut health because it helps with breathing and speech and sweating. It helps with your heartbeat. It helps you digest your food. So you see that apple pie over there that we shouldn't be eating because it's tons of sugar and gluten, and your mouth starts to water because your brain and your stomach are already talking. Your mouth is already producing those enzymes to break down that apple pie that I'm fixing to consume. Okay? Directly connected. So think about somebody who has very, very high blood sugar. If you know, and I'm not talking oils, if you know somebody with gastroparesis, if that is a word that you know, a diagnosis, it's very, very slow motility and bowel movement. That is because there's damage, or possibly more than likely damage, to that vagus nerve. So if we can get all of this in check, then it's going to help other disease processes that are down the road. Okay, another thing that is really important about our gut that a lot of times people don't think about is hormones. And serotonin is a hormone that is super, super important. This is our feel-good hormone. If your mood is good, your digestion is going to be okay. You know, not if you have to do other things, but improved mood gives you improved digestion. Improved digestion, in turn, is going to give you improved mood because of those serotonin levels. There are approximately 40 million brain cells, most are influenced either directly or indirectly by serotonin. So when I see people, and guys, I'm not against medicine. I will be the first to say it. There is a time and place for medicine. And just like Janie Hill says, if I get hit by a car, do not throw an oil on me. Don't do it. Now, somebody better be using some oils on me, but you better use every avenue you have to take care of me. But when I see people taking antidepressants, and we are talking things like SSRIs, so they're selective serotonin inhibitors. And those are things, and I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. So think about things like Celexa or Lexapro or Prozac or Zoloft. Those all interfere with serotonin. So you're taking that pill for your mood. You're swallowing that pill. It's being absorbed by your stomach, and it's blocking the serotonin in your gut. So because of that, it has a humongous effect on your gut. When you don't think about that, you don't think, I'm taking this and what is it doing to my stomach, because we just want it to make us happy. But everything that we consume is impacting another part of our body. Low serotonin levels are actually related or linked to depression. So if we can do things to boost our serotonin level by means of making your gut health better, then it's going to help your mood. Serotonin impacts every part of your body, from emotions to motor skills, anxiety, depression. It helps heal wounds and also bone health. Isn't that crazy? Bone health with serotonin, and then that's linked to your gut. So stress can impact, what is that thing doing? And everything in your gut, stress. And there are tons and tons of research articles. I am a research girl. I want to see the studies. Let me read them. I will read them because I want to know. Do I believe them all? Absolutely not. But do I want to read them and I want to see what they're saying? Most definitely. There are lots of studies, lots and lots of studies about your gut health and neuroscience or your psychological self. And you can go, every single person, this is not something sometimes I act a little bit like Janie. This is not something to message me about. This is not something to message Janie about. You can go to Google Scholar. I think it's Google/Scholar. I don't know, Google it. Google Scholar, and you can type in anything and it'll bring you up these studies. And if they don't make sense, scroll to the bottom and read the conclusion. That's all you need to do. But it's super important to look things up and look at the meds that you're taking, look at the chemicals that you might be using. But here, we don't use chemicals anymore, right? And how they impact you and how they impact your gut. So lots of studies are out there. Some things that stress can do on your gut. Decreased metabolism. That's a huge one for me. I don't need anything to decrease my metabolism. It is bad enough on its own. Decrease gastrointestinal motility. We need things to move. Mess with your blood sugar. Mess with oxygenation. All kinds of things that stress can have an impact. And stress is directly related to your gut. So this is a whole body system. Yeah, we're talking about the gut, but there are so many other things that have a direct impact on your gut, because your gut has a direct impact on every other body system, every single body system. So let's talk about diet. Look where we live. The traditional American diet is not the best, to say the least, at all. Pharmaceuticals. Okay, we talk about SSRIs, or anxiety, depression type medicine. But another medicine is birth control. Birth control hormones. There's so many hormone receptors in your gut. You're taking birth control, but it's screwing up your gut as well. And then we always talk about antibiotics. Antibiotics is a huge one. We know antibiotics is not selective. Antibiotics doesn't care what kind of bacteria you are. We're going to kill it regardless. Dead, gone, good, bad. It's going to mess you up. Where you live. Do you live in an environment, are you drinking water that has parasites in it? You know, there are countries. Are you living in an environment that our water is treated with tons of chemicals and fluoride? Guys, that's us. Unless you're taking that out, right? But are you taking that out when you go to a restaurant? I mean, are you, and there are some people that carry their filter bottles around. I filter at home, but am I good when I go other places? No, I have 3 kids and I'm just glad they have shoes on when they go in public. So no, I don't, but should I? Yeah. So where you live has a huge impact. Are you eating food with good nutrients? Our soil is depleted. The nutrients that we're buying, the food that we're buying from the store, it is mass produced. The nutrients are gone. So that has a huge impact on us. Life cycle, you know, a baby's gut and an elderly gut are 2 totally different guts. They have been through 2 totally different things. They have been exposed to lots and lots and lots of stuff. The birth process, were you born vaginally? Were you a C-section baby? You know, that vaginal birth, you got that good squeeze, then you go through the birth canal, you may take in some of that vaginal flora. Okay, that's the first thing that you get when you come out. Or are you a C-section baby and you get pulled through the skin and you have ingested and taken in epithelial cells or skin cells, and is that the first bacteria that you have put in? Feeding. How did you eat when you were a baby? How did you feed your babies? Were they breastfed babies? Or were they formula-fed babies? You know, this is not something we can beat ourselves up about. I mean, frankly, like myself, I didn't have a choice. I mean, I didn't know how my mama fed me, and I can't beat myself up how I fed my babies. But that's something to think about. And then, of course, stress. It impacts every single thing. So look at this baby. Isn't that a cute baby? That was a vaginal baby. You can tell because look at that head. Look at that cone head. But something that this mama did, look at those bubbles all over that baby. Do you see that nurse is washing that baby? Look at all of those bubbles. That baby has chemicals just laying all over his little chest, all over his arm. They're wiping away all of that vernix, all of that sweet God-given covering that is all over babies that should be left on those babies. But no, this baby came out, obviously vaginally. Look at the head, all those bubbles. We're wiping all of that away. We're opening up those skin cells for bacteria to go in, and it's going to end up in that sweet baby's gut. But guess what? That mama knows better now, right? We can't go back and say, I cannot believe that mama let them wash that baby with that yellow soap that every hospital has, because we can't change that. And you know how I know that? Because this is my baby. This is my baby, and I didn't know it. So going forward from tonight, we have to make changes. What are we going to do? Because what we've done, we can't fix, right? It's done. My last baby did not have that soap all over him, but I didn't know this. I didn't know that I was going to mess his gut up. Okay, and this child has a terrible gut that I have worked years on. Okay, is your gut healthy? Well, I don't know, but I would bet not. Are you having regular bowel movements? Do you have any inflammatory diseases? Do you have lupus? Do you have arthritis? Do you have thyroid problems? Do you have rashes all over your body? Do you have constant yeast infections? Do you have anxiety, depression? Is your serotonin levels low? Do you have GI infections? Do you have bacterial overgrowth? That can even be skin bacterial overgrowth. Do you have enzyme deficiencies? Are you intolerant of carbohydrates when you eat them? Do you eat that potato and you're like, ugh, I can't even do anything? Or you eat that pizza and you're like ruined for the rest of the day? Okay, we got to work on the whole entire picture. This is like a picture of our gut wall. And things that happen that are very common that cause a lot of those inflammatory disease processes is related to a leaky gut. So we eat something, and a leaky gut, that's a couple years ago, that was the talk. All this leaky gut. Well, I want to be tested for leaky gut. Well, I can't do that here. Like in this urgent care setting, yeah, you could probably got a leaky gut. You got all this other issues going on. I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell you that you have a leaky gut. But any impairment in the bowel wall increase your risk of developing infections and inflammatory disease processes. So we have to get the wall of our GI tract involved. And this is down on a cellular level. We have to get it intact. So some diseases that are thought to be associated with the GI barrier or the gut bacteria within our wall, within our gut, would be things like fibromyalgia, chronic pain, obesity, fatty liver, depression, irritable bowel, celiac, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, any thyroid, any autoimmune issue. Did you know that there are 63 million, this was National Institute of Health last year, 63 million people suffer from chronic constipation. 20% of the population have reflux and take reflux meds. 60 to 70 million are affected with GI diseases that put them in an office visit. I will tell you that a patient with an abdominal pain complaint is the worst patient that I want to see. Like, you can give me anything but an abdominal pain, because the magnitude and multitude of, I don't know what that is because I don't have x-ray vision and I can't see in your belly, is so hard. Hemorrhoids. Guys, hemorrhoids are related to your GI tract. 75% of people over the age of 45, like I feel like I'm almost there. 75% of people have had or suffer from hemorrhoids. All GI related. Let's see. Oh. Getting finger happy here. So what disrupts the gut? Sugar, obviously. Sugar. We shouldn't have sugar. And this includes your white sugar, your brown sugar, your high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, just because you're not eating sugar, but you're using your Equal and Splenda, that's not a good alternative. All of that feeds bacteria, and you're feeding the bad bacteria. You're not feeding your good bacteria. Gluten. Is it the gluten? Is it the wheat? Or is it the crap that they spray on the wheat? Right? How they cultivate it and sprayed with Roundup or whatever. Who all knows what really put on it? That disrupts your gut. We talked about the pill or birth control pills. That is just as bad for your gut as taking antibiotics. Again, I'm not against medicine. There is a time and a place for medicine, but if you are going to take it, you better be doing something to support your belly. A lot of people, if you're using the birth control pills, it's going to increase your risk for yeast infections. Okay, overall systemic yeast infections. We're going to talk about what you're going to do about that here in a minute. So this is the leaky gut. So this is just an example of your gut wall, how you have all of the bacteria and food particles going through the gut wall like they should be, because they go in and they have to come out. But do you see like the little spaces in those little squares? Like that's how proteins slip out of the gut wall. It will stimulate your body to make an immune cell that's going to go back and fight against it. So you are working against yourself because of this leaky gut. And this is where a lot of people are getting rashes and they just treat my rash, just make my rash go away. I can't make your rash go away until you clean up your gut, because it's what you're eating that's causing this, which is hard to see. So it's a humongous, vicious cycle of leaky gut. So you have that inflammation because this is seeping out, and then that whole cycle starts. You get the immune cells, then it attacks more, and then it continues to break down the gut wall. Healing a gut is not easy. It takes work. It takes time. It's not a one-pill wonder. You didn't hurt that gut in a day. Okay? It's going to take years, months, many to fix your gut. How are we going to do it? Well, there's several things that you can take. There's several things you can work on. Glutamine is a amino acid. It's a non-essential amino acid. It's very high proportions in the body. Many immune cells require that to function. That's something that can help our gut wall. Fermented foods, kefir, yogurt. Now, I reluctantly put up yogurt. I'm not talking like your store-bought, sugar-filled yogurt. You need a good yogurt, not the sweet kind, like the Icelandic yogurt with the bacteria in it. If you just get yogurt, then you're just doing opposite of what you need to be doing. Kombucha, sauerkraut, things that you can be putting in your gut. I mean, I have probably spent, and yes, I know I can make my own kombucha. I've done that once. I've played the game. Let's move on. I'll just buy it now. But I've spent a small fortune on kombucha because that's something that I can sip on at work, and I feel like it's a treat. But it's also good. It's good for your gut. Picking your fiber, good fibers. Get rid of inflammatory foods. If you want a shocker, go on the autoimmune protocol diet, or look at that diet and see the things that you are eating that's causing inflammation in your gut, which in turn is causing inflammation in your body. So everybody write it down, Google the autoimmune protocol diet and look at the food list, because it's things that you think that might be good that are actually inflammatory foods, and it's affecting you systemically. Yeah, it could be that you're eating whatever, you're eating a lot of it, you're eating a lot of eggs, and you've noticed that your knees hurt, and you put that two together, cut the eggs out and get rid of that inflammation if that's a big problem for you. Everybody's triggers are going to be different, but Google the autoimmune protocol diet. Let me tell you what, I did it for six weeks. It was terrible. I mean, like, it was really bad, but I completely turned around my thyroid numbers, and it was 100% on diet. 100% on diet. It was awful. But I mean, look what it did. And I didn't think my thyroid numbers were bad. So increasing your anti-inflammatory foods, those again are prebiotics, omega-3s. You've got to drink lots of water, good water, not toxin-filled, chemical-filled water. If you say, well, I drink a lot because I have, a 44 ounce tea from the Sonic, because I will tell you that that's my drug of choice. Like, just give me an unsweet tea from Sonic. But that doesn't count as fluids. Coffee, tea, Cokes do not count as fluids, period. I tell patients that all day long. If you are going to eat that or drink that, then you're going to have to double up on your water, because those do not count as fluid. Those are dehydrants. It's total opposite of what you need to be doing. Get tested for parasites. If that may be an issue, I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. There's going to be a lot of symptoms associated with parasites. Get tested. Is it a pleasant test to have to do? Absolutely not. It's a stool sample. You need multiple of them sometimes. Get tested. Get enough sleep. Work on your stress. Okay. We're done with diagnoses. Got it? Because we're going to start talking about some products. All of that previous is to say you need to do your own research. You need to look up your symptoms and just Google it. Such and such, is that affected by my gut? Or does gut health affect such and such? Whatever you have, and see what pulls up. Okay, this is what we're going to do. First of all, we have to get rid of the bugs. And you say, well, I don't have bugs. Guarantee you do. How gross is that? Majority of us have a parasite. Newsflash. Gross. I know it. Own it. Move on. Okay? Then we're going to remove the sludge. We got to get rid of it. Then we're going to rebuild our gut wall. And then we're going to restore the nutrients. This is bad business. But let me tell you, if you are taking all of these products because they're good for you and your gut health is terrible, then you are pooping those out. That is bad business. I know it. But that is the fact. If you are not absorbing that stuff, just flush it down the toilet, because that's what you're doing. You've got to get the gut health in check for anything that you're taking to work. Here's some examples. Examples of things that we're going to talk, and we're going to hit on these. How we're going to get rid of them. How we're going to remove the junk from our bowel. How we're going to rebuild, and how we're going to restore. Is this 100% what every single person needs to do? No. We are all completely in our different spectrum of self-care. Even within my house, some of us are way more advanced than some of us, because some of us, not us, because it's not me, love ice cream. Okay? That is terrible for his gut health. I know it. He knows it. But we're all in different paths. So just because you pick your path, don't think that even your child or your husband or your mama or your uncle or your brother, sister's cousin's wife is going to be on the same path as you, because we all have different problems. Okay, so we need to get rid of the bugs. Here are two kinds of bugs. Candida, which is yeast. or a parasite. You could have both. You could have one or the other. You probably have one or the other. But what is more of a problem with you? That is something for you to look at and for you to decide. Look through these lists. You can screenshot this list, do whatever you want to get this list. I can put it in Oils Away if somebody will remind me. But if you have athlete's foot, that's yeast. You think it's just growing on your foot? No, it's all in you. You've got toenail fungus, that's yeast. It's just not on that toe. It's all through your body. Are you itching all over? And does it kind of move? I mean, that can be yeast. What medicines are you taking? Have you taken antibiotics? Are you taking birth control? Lots of questions to ask. Do you have brain fog? Brain fog's a big one. Do you crave sugar? You know, you eat more sugar because you crave sugar. But guess what? The yeast are hungry. They're going to eat your sugar up. So they need more sugar. So then you want to eat sugar. Or do you have a parasite? Do you have constipation, diarrhea, rashes again? Do you not sleep? Do you have rectal itching? Is your iron level low? You know, parasites like to suck on red blood cells. So could that be a reason why iron is low? Anxiety, depression. You know, I have had patients that people think they're crazy. Like, really, people think they're crazy. Because they're like, I'm itching. Like, I feel something. I feel something right here. Like, there's something there. You know, the first thing, I mean, what does somebody say? Well, I mean, are you on drugs? Because that's what society has taught us. They've not taught us to say, do you have a parasite? Because nobody's going to say that. You know, we think about parasites with kids. They're playing in the dirt. They put their hands in their mouth. Guess what? So adults do too. Do you have a dog in the house? I got a dog in the house. Who knows? So, what is it? Compromised immune system, leaky gut, all this comes in together. Do you play like parasites? Do you go to the river? Do you play in the lake? Parasites in there. So pick one of these. Do you have things on this list? Then you need to attack it if you do. So how are we going to get rid of it? Well, if it's a parasite, you're going to use Parafree. Parafree is a capsule that Young Living has. I will tell you that it is very strong. Like, it's potent oils in it. But you got to get rid of those bugs. And even when we talk about parasites, you've got to think about things like scabies and lice. Those are parasites. Just not worms, tapeworms, roundworms, hookworms, any kind of worms, but also scabies and lice are parasites. When we talk about parasites, you have to remember that parasites go in a life cycle. So just because maybe you see that worm, and people see worms, like this is more common, and it's crazy that I'm talking about parasites so much, but this is so common. But this is one of those things that is not talked about at all. And you have to tackle it as an individual. You don't have to tell anybody. You can get online and order Parafree. Nobody's ever going to know it. And that's the beauty with Young Living. I don't know what people order. So you can do that stuff in private. But let me tell you, we have people come in this door multiple times a week that I feel like they have parasites. And that's hard. It's hard to talk about with them. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to believe you until they see something. But then you treat the parasite. So you're going to take the Parafree. It tells you on the back how to do it. But you have to remember that parasites live in life cycles. So just because you see that worm and you take your whole Parafree and you're done, I'm free and clear. Guess what? You're not. You're not, because they have already laid eggs. They've laid eggs before you know it. So you are going to have to 30 days, I don't know, 15, 20 days, you're going to have to redo that entire cycle because you got to kill that. And you may have to do it multiple times to get the whole life cycle. Just because you've killed that worm doesn't mean that the eggs aren't there. And that's where a lot of people mess up, because they treat one time and never go back. And they think they're free and clear, and you're not at all. Pair free. Okay, so that's your big one for parasites. Then inner defense. Does anybody take inner defense? Like, I love inner defense. That is one that I keep on the shelf. Like, that's my emergency. Like, it is always on the shelf. If we ever got like to where we can't have multiple of something, then I'm gonna be in trouble, because inner defense is something that I always want on there. If I feel like I'm starting to go below that wellness line, then I will grab that bottle and I will take 5 through the day. And typically that's all I need, and I'm good. The inner defense works with your yeast and your candida. So you have to modify. Again, this is not a one pill wonder. You're not going to take it and continue to drink your sweet tea and eat your ice cream and eat your white potatoes. You can't do that. You have to stop the things that you're putting in before you can take care of what's already there. So inner defense is one of the things that you can use for candida or yeast. You're going to want to take it like an hour before meals and 8 hours away from Life 9 or your probiotic, because you don't want to kill your probiotic by taking your inner defense. If you have a sensitive belly, you might have to take it with a meal. That's another one that is super strong. If you cannot swallow that, then pop it and rub it on your feet. Like, do something to get it in you or on you. Okay, so we've read the yeast and candida. Now, how are we going to clean up that gut? So one way, or remove the sludge, because we got to get it out. Like, it just can't stay there, is ICP. So that can be IC poop. Is that how you're going to remember it? Or I can't poop. So this is one that you can take. It helps with the fibers to pull that residue and scrape that wall and get it out. It's a powder. You're going to mix it in something to drink. It's really coarse. Again, it says on the back how to do it, but it's like a tablespoon. I think it's a tablespoon in a glass of water for 2 to 3 days. But the fiber works to decrease the buildup of waste that's in your gut wall. So then you're able to absorb the nutrients. So it kind of acts as a sponge. It helps absorb those impurities, absorb the gas, absorb the toxins, increase the flow through the intestine. Because of that fiber, it also helps satisfy an appetite, because it fills you up without all the excessive calories. Comfort tone is another thing that you can use. This is made out of diatomaceous earth, licorice root, bentonite, cayenne pepper, garlic. There's some other things in there. But it helps with the waste products and gas that's held in the colon at a higher concentration to help pull things out. So it helps pull those out so those toxins don't leach out of your gut wall into the other organs. It's full of different herbs. It's like a herbal type laxative, but it's not a laxative effect like that because of the bentonite in it. It also, of course, contains oils, because we know all of our supplements contain oils. Okay, that's why we're absorbing them so much better. If elimination, or if you're taking it and it doesn't help, then you can take up to 3 at night. Okay, sleep, drink a lot of water, because you got to have that water to get things moving. But again, it'll tell you on the back how to use it. It's great for your liver and gallbladder. When you are having a bowel movement 2 to 4 times a day, then you know your comfort tone is working. Okay, we should be pooping every single time we eat. And there are people that don't poop for days. And that is terrible. That stuff is just in your gut and rotting and leaking. So it's super important that you're pooping. And nobody likes to talk about poop. I know, but you know what? We have baby at home. Well, he's not really a baby anymore, but he still wears a diaper. And we still say, did he poop today? Like, because that's important. Did he poop? And that should be important for us. Like, it's like we talk about it with babies and we talk about it with very elderly people. But what about these middle people where it's the majority of us? People got to be pooping. Who thought I would go to school for so long to talk about poop? Okay, cleansing trio. This comes in and out of stock. I will tell you at this moment, I have no idea. I had all intentions of looking today, but I didn't look. So if it's not in stock, then you can piece it together or change things up. This is not a magic thing that you have to do. It's just easy how Young Living has put it together. This is something that is very difficult. I know it's tiny and little, and I don't know if you can even see this, but this is another slide that we can put somewhere for you to get, because it's hard if you don't have the cleansing protocol. Like if you can't buy the cleansing bundle together, you're like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to take and how am I supposed to take it? So this kind of lays it out of what you take, when you take, how long you take it, and you may need to stay on this for 4 to 6 weeks. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay, we've killed the bugs. We've cleaned the junk out of our belly or out of our bowel. Now we've got to rebuild it. What are we going to do to get the good back in? One is Life 9. Let me tell you though, if you really think that you have parasites or you have been tested for parasites and you know that you have a parasite, then don't take Life 9 right now because you're feeding it. You're feeding that parasite. So when I see things online, Facebook, and it's like every single person needs to be doing this, no, you don't. Don't buy the bull. Don't do it. You can't do that, because if you have an overwhelming parasite infection and you're taking probiotics, you're feeding it. And nobody's going to tell you that on those cute little graphics that they put online. But that's the truth. Okay. Now, one thing that we do need is enzymes. Okay, back to Life 9. Off my story. It has tons of bacteria, good bacteria. Yes. Do we need good bacteria? Most definitely we do. Am I going to say every single person needs to take it every single day? No, because I don't know you and I don't know what your diagnosis is. And you need to look at those lists beforehand to see. But if you don't have, or if you have already cleansed your gut and you are done with that part, and you know that you've done those life cycles and you've killed those things and you've killed the eggs and you've moved on, then yeah, Life 9 is very, very good, because you have to have the good bacteria. If you have taken oral antibiotics and you have wiped out everything, yes, you need probiotics in your gut. You have got to get that back in there, because those antibiotics don't care. They don't care if you're good. They don't care if you're bad. They're just going to kill you. Literally. Not really. But you got to get the probiotics back in there. There's a ton of information on probiotics. Lots and lots of research, lots of things out there that you can Google and you can look it up. Essential Zyme 4. This young living has there's multiple enzymes, Allerzyme, Detoxzyme, Essentialzyme 4, just regular Essentialzyme. Does it get confusing? Most definitely it gets confusing. Does it get confusing for me? Yes, most definitely it gets confusing. But Essentialzyme 4 is more of a time released. So if you know that you're not going to take a pill or an enzyme with every single meal, because I know that I'm not, like, do y'all want to see my pocket? I shouldn't show you my pocket because I just sat down a minute ago and I noticed, look at this. See what that is? That's my vitamins that I should have taken this morning. Come on, that's life, right? I got here, there were patients already waiting, and they stayed in my pocket. I wish I could say I was better, but at least I have them, right? I mean, like, they're laying out now, I'll take them. Take them when you can remember them. I tell people that all the time. Well, what time should I take this? I just want you to remember to take it. Like, I don't care when you take it. Just, there are some things that you need to take apart from each other, but other than that, I just want you to get it in you. So Essentialzyme 4 is great for a time released. If you know that you're like Kenzie Lovingood, and there is no way that you're going to remember to take a capsule or a pill or a vitamin or whatever it is, Essentialzyme 4 is for you. Okay, it has lipase, it has lots of different things. Bee pollen powder, it has a lot of things for your pancreas. It has fennel and tarragon and ginger. There's tons of stuff in that. It's a two bilayer of how it breaks down. One is extended release. Don't really say that because there's nothing synthetic, but to help time release it. Other things that there is Allerzyme. That is vegetarian based. So if you are vegetarian, then that would be where you would go, this Allerzyme. It's also time released. It helps many people who have gluten or lactose intolerances. Then there is Detoxzyme, that's also vegetarian based. It has the lowest amount of herbs, so that's real good for people that are super sensitive. It is also a fast acting one, so you need to remember to take that one. That's one that I give I don't know, I'll say, Russ, I don't know what age the bottle says, but I will tell you that I give that personally, my choice, I give that to my 10-year-old because he's young, and I don't want to throw all this high power stuff at him. But I also know that he needs some enzymes because we have worked on his gut forever. Then we're going to restore. Okay, this is our last step. We've cleaned it. We've killed everything. We've gotten all the junk out. Now we've got to keep the good stuff in. So this is where we get to our maintenance. Now, am I saying that you never have to go back and cleanse? Absolutely not. We all have to do that. Every person has to do it at a different time. Every person has to do it at a different frequency. So it's not you do it once and you don't go back, but this is our restore. This is how we're going to maintain. Ningxia. If you don't drink Ningxia, you probably should. It supports every body system. Are there people out there that can't drink Ningxia? Yes, there are. So don't say that everybody has to. No, but that's very good whole body health. There are classes that are 100% about Ningxia. I mean, that's how much Ningxia does. I've taught classes on Ningxia, and that's all we talk about, and how it affects this body system and what it can do for this, and a whole bunch of stuff. Blood sugar stabilization is huge. Eye health, blood pressure. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff with Ningxia. So if you don't take Ningxia and you don't have a good reason not to take it or drink it, you should. I gave it to our last baby while he I gave it to him in a bottle. I didn't have another way to do it. I shot it in his mouth for a while with a syringe, and I was just making a mess. So like that low is how I give it to our kids, drink it every single day. I pour shot glasses. My kids take shots in the morning. I pour shot glasses and set them on the counter. Everybody takes a shot before school. That kind of mom. Okay, Omega Jazz. Omega Jazz is fish oil. And this is the same omega-3 that's in our brain. So it's going to help with cognition. The thing about fish oil is fish oil can turn rancid very, very fast. But what has Young Living done? Because you know they're going to do something to protect us. They have added clove oil to the Omega Jazz, which is a super, the highest antioxidant oil to help that oxidation from happening. Omega Jazz has no heavy metals, which is a problem if you're just buying fish oil at the grocery store. It could be chemical laden and full of heavy metals, and guys, that's what we're trying to get rid of. It also has vitamin D and CoQ10, which is great for our heart, great for our belly, and great for our brain health as well. Here is, oh, that's the same thing, isn't it? Or maybe that's just Omega Jazz. Okay. Ningxia Red. If you don't know anything about Ningxia Red, you need to. It's great for our digestive system. I think I said blood pressure. It helps you sleep, antioxidants, all kinds of stuff. I'd love to see, like, I still like to see blood work because that's the nurse in me. And I want to see what your blood sugars do. I want to see what that hemoglobin A1C has done once I know that you hadn't changed your diet. And I know that you are not exercising, but I've finally just gotten you to take some Ningxia Red. And I will tell you guys, those levels change significantly. And you add a couple oils into it, yep, that might be what you do. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to cure you. It's not going to cure you. But can it help you? Most definitely. There's tons of research that's still out there that is going on. In 2014, which that's like forever ago, they spent more than $1 million just studying bacteria in the gut. So imagine what they're spending now just on bacteria, because it is so important. And I'm talking good bacteria and bad.
Keep these classes shorter.
Okay, I think that's it. Guys, I know that's super fast, and I know that that's a ton of information, but I can't stress the importance of what you put in you and what you put on you and the impact it has on your stomach and on your gut, and then how everything is connected to your gut health. And it's things that you don't think about. Right? It's like, what do you mean my thyroid? My thyroid's messed up because my gut is bad? I mean, I don't have constipation. I don't have diarrhea. I don't have any of that. It is. I mean, when my chiropractor told me that she wanted to see my lab work, I kept telling her, my labs are fine. Like, my thyroid labs are perfect. And they are. They were when I look at my lab numbers. But when I look at natural health lab numbers and their reference ranges are like this, or my reference range is like this, I was all out of whack. And the only thing that I did was go on that god-awful diet. Okay? Yes, did I do these other things? Most definitely. But you have to start with what you're putting in you. What you're putting in you, what you're putting in your kids. There are a lot of men on here tonight, I think. Like, I've seen some pop up, but most of us are women. And we are in charge of what comes in our house. Like, we are that gatekeeper, and what I bring in is what my kids eat. And if I bring in that thing of gluten-free cookies because I finally found them on the shelf at Ingles, That's the first thing that they're going to go to. Okay. So gut, super important. So I hope y'all learned something. I hope I didn't confuse you more. Think about yourself. Think about what symptoms you may be having. Guys, symptoms are not bad. Do not think a symptom is bad. Symptom is just your warning light. That's just your body saying, hey, we're having a little problem over here. You might need to look into me. And it might not be arthritis in your knee because you tweaked it. Like, it could be inflammation because your bowel is leaking. Okay. All right, Jamie, your turn.
Thank you, Kenzie. This was a full house, and my phone's been blowing up. People trying to get in. I said get in early, and we're gonna enlarge this class size. I didn't. It might not be this big every week, but I said from the very beginning, it's been big, and Kenzie coming on and her group coming on, it's going to be even bigger. So I'm going to try to get a bigger classroom and be able to accommodate everybody. Tina has recorded. I hope she stopped recording now, but she has recorded this, and it will be available very, very